What's up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Titans Tube. This is going to be a loaded episode. There is a lot to talk about. Basically, we're going to be talking about two main topics, kind of three topics. One being our kind of recap and take on the Patriots game, our loss to the Patriots in the divisional rounds. And then we're going to transition into the big news that came out today, which was Mike Mularkey and the Titans mutually parting ways. And then the kind of Mike Mularkey's press conference yesterday that led to his firing or parting today. So those are our three topics. If you want to get to one specifically, we'll put the timestamps in the description below.
Cool. Very nice.
But
very nice
yes,
to do that.
Thank you. So let's start out with our divisional loss to the Patriots from this past Saturday. Titans lose in Foxborough, 35-14. Season is over. Justin, what was your take on this game?
My take on this game, there's, the game only happened a couple days ago, or maybe 3 days ago. What was it, Saturday night? And I don't remember a whole lot about it just because of everything that's happened since then in regarding to the coaching staff. But I liked how it started. I can tell you that. The Titans started off the game with a touchdown. I also liked how it ended by ending the game with the touchdown. I thought that what happened in between, the 5 touchdowns in between that the Patriots scored is really what did us in. But that's what the Patriots do. They score more than you on more times than not. But you know what? It was just kind of a weird game because it started out really good for us. It looked like we had a good game plan going in. Mariota leading that 95-yard touchdown drive to start off the scoring in the game. That was extremely impressive. I mean, how many quarterbacks can do that in Foxborough in a playoff game? It was a beautiful start to the game. Of course, Corey Davis showing out beautifully with his first touchdown catch of the season/postseason.
Career.
Yeah, with that one-handed catch, which was one of the best catches that a Titans receiver may have ever made that I can remember. And then he doubled down. He doubled down on that by getting his second touchdown at the end of the game, which, I mean, Patriots may have been playing, kind of off coverage at that point. But you see the ability. You saw what he can do, and that is my biggest takeaway. It was encouraging to see his potential, his impact he can have on a game, and in a playoff game. I mean, this was high stakes, and he was very efficient and productive for us. So I think that was good to see going into next season, that we can kind of lean on him to hopefully make that step into becoming that #1 overall receiver for this team. And that's probably my biggest takeaway from the game, honestly. I mean, the Patriots, you just saw the kind of team that they are. They just kind of are on another level. And especially in the coaching staff, you saw that, we started off the scoring, but the Patriots just make adjustments, and we could not adjust to their adjustments properly, which you saw the differences in the coaching staffs on these two teams. Possibly our future head coach was on the other side of the sidelines, but I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, which may not happen anyway because of the Colts and with all the dumb stuff that they do by breaking our hearts. But I mean, we had hope. We had momentum going in this game, and I had hope that we could possibly pull off this huge upset. But you just saw, the Patriots just know how to get it done. And Tom Brady, man, he was picking apart our defense. They were absolutely exploiting the defense, which had played well throughout the season as a whole. But they just find the weaknesses and they exploit matchups, and they really took us to task on that. And Brady was making some unbelievable throws, which shouldn't be a surprise, but even when you still see him do it, it's like, wow, how does he get that throw off? The dude is the least mobile quarterback I've ever seen in my life, and he just knows how to get rid of the football and lay down a perfect pass. But yeah, that was pretty much what I saw. Derrick Henry, pretty disappointed. From what we saw from him after his game against Kansas City, could not establish the running game. But again, that's what New England does. They take away a big aspect of your game and make you beat them in another way. And yeah, just too much to handle for the Titans.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, back to the Tom Brady making incredible throws. The one where he scrambled to his right and then falling down, throws it, just lofted it up to Danny Amendola across the field, like across his body for the first down.
I was so mad. So mad.
I was mad, but at the same time, I was like in awe of like that. That was the point. I mean, we were already down by a lot by that point. But I was like, yeah, we had no shot at beating this team if Tom Brady can go out and make plays like that still at age 40. Like that's a throw that I don't know if any other quarterback in the league, maybe besides like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, can make. So I mean, we already know Tom Brady's in the league with those as some of the top 3 quarterbacks. But that throw was incredible. Man, you know what? It really sucks because I believed, you believed, a lot of the nation was starting to believe that somehow this Titans team was going to put it to the Patriots and pull an upset. But then, like, deep down inside, we all knew that the Patriots outmatched us. And that's just, by the end of the game, that's what I felt. I was like, we were completely outmatched in basically every level of this game. And honestly, it started with coaching for me. I thought both sides of the ball, we were outcoached. On offense, outside of the first quarter, we just were stubborn. We had that one long scoring drive, 95 yards. Mainly a lot of that coming on that one pass to Delaney, and then Corey Davis making a great play. So plays made by our playmakers. But after that, the offense just completely stalled. They took away our running game, which we knew they would. Patriots take away what you're best at. After that, apparently Mariota dealt with a quad injury, so he couldn't get away from the pass rush as well. Jack Conklin was a huge loss. I mean, they ended up sacking us, 7 times?
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought probably the most disappointing aspect of this game, players and coaches, was the offensive line. I thought that this probably was the worst game that the offensive line as a whole played throughout the entire season. And I know Jack Conklin had a lot to do with that. And we saw the regression immediately with Dennis Kelly coming in and trying to fill in that gap. And even Taylor Lewan, man, I don't even think Taylor Lewan had a great game. And he's our Pro Bowl left tackle, supposed to be one of the tops in the league. And I was kind of disappointed in some of his play because he gave up some sacks himself.
Yeah, how do the Patriots do it? Even the stuff you're good at. Like, our O-line has been strong and pretty dominant the past 2 seasons, and they're like, we're going to just make you guys look like the worst offensive line in the league and sack Mariota 7 times, hurt him, and then just shut down your run game and completely you have to rely on something that we haven't had to rely on all year, which was throwing to our wide receivers. Very encouraged by the play of Corey Davis. You want to add in something here?
I'm sorry. I wanted to add it. They actually had 8 sacks, which was a playoff record for the Patriots. And if the Patriots are breaking playoff records at this point in their dynasty, that tells you a lot. So, yeah, even worse than what we feared. But, yeah, sorry. What were we saying about Corey Davis?
I was just saying that was the most encouraging, pretty much the only encouraging thing out of this game is that Corey Davis really, I saw from him, especially on a national stage in a huge game, what I kind of expected to see from him all year. I think he has the chemistry with Mariota now. It took him this long, or he's like finally fully healthy. I am hearing some music. Is that from you?
That's a ringer on a phone. We're past. Okay.
We're just going to ignore that. But that was extremely encouraging to head into the offseason because that gives me hope for, I think our weakness this year was our passing game in terms of throwing it to our receivers and bringing them up to speed with Mariota. So to see that even at the end of the year in a blowout loss, that's very encouraging from a rookie. He had a great performance. I thought Mariota played pretty well, too, in the passing game. He put up some good numbers. Take away, those 8 sacks. Give us 8 more possessions. Maybe the game could have been a little different, but I doubt it. And then on defense, honestly, I thought we put too much emphasis on trying to stop Gronk. And the Patriots knew that. I don't know how they know that. They knew we were going to try to shut down Gronk, and so they just tore us apart by dunking it to their little running backs here and there, all the way up the field. Dion Lewis tore us up.
Yeah,
he looked like a Pro Bowl running back. Yeah, he looked like Alvin Kamara back there. Just couldn't stop him. But yeah, by the end of the game, probably come fourth quarter, I was like, yeah, I don't know why I believed because we were just completely overmatched. I think it really showed me where we kind of ranked in the NFL totem of power right there. Like, yeah, we may have made the playoffs and squeaked by, up and down Andy Reid-led Chiefs team, but when it comes to really competing with the elite, we are way overmatched. And I think it started with the coaching staff, which was addressed later. Because at both sides of the ball, I just thought that with the style of offense that we were coached to play, and almost kind of defense, though I think defense could have adjusted. But with the style of offense we were coached to play, bringing into this game, we weren't going to be able to compete with some of the NFL elite. And it showed on Saturday night against the Patriots.
Yep.
So it was disappointing to really talk myself into believing that we could do it, and then just be like, oh yeah, what was I thinking? It was the Patriots. Yeah. They were going to win that game.
I think our team does and can pose some serious matchup problems against really good teams in the league. We saw that twice against the Jaguars this year, who find themselves in the AFC Championship game, which is unbelievable with their upset against the Steelers, and also the Chiefs. I thought we had to roar back in the second half to take back that game, but I thought matchup-wise, we matched up decently well against them. Which it turned out, it was fortunate for us. But yeah, as a whole, it's just, you just never know with this team. And going up against an elite team like the Patriots, you saw, like you said, the differences in talent and coaching.
And like you said, but our good matchups though are almost like by default. Like, we're a strong running team. We're a good run-stopping team, so that played well against playing the Jags and the Chiefs with a good secondary. And same with the offense. You come into a team like New England, and it's like you don't even know what they're good or bad at. Like, they could literally do anything on offense. Tom Brady threw the ball 30 times in the first half. Yeah. And then, which is insane, like, what the Titans offense was going to bring. Like, they're only going to be a good match for people because that's just who they are. We're not going to, the coaching staff as it wasn't going to scheme to try and take advantages or create better matchups with the talent they have. They're just going to, they basically just brought it to the table, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, well, too bad, because that's who we are. That's who we were, and that was basically Mularkey's coaching scheme. And that's where I saw we were stubborn to make the adjustments. We're trying to utilize and create better matchups, especially in the offensive game, which elite teams do, like the Pats. I think that's about all I have to say on the game. Overall, I'm glad we got to see where we were. I'm glad we won a playoff game. That was huge, and I'm glad we got to have a shot at taking down the defending champs. I mean, that's pretty much all you can ask for at the beginning of the year. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and going forward, we've mentioned this before, but the experience that these players get all these young players get with going into Foxborough, playing a divisional round playoff game against Tom Brady, who is in the 18th year of his prime. I think that'll serve well for this Titans team in years to come if we can keep making these playoff pushes. But it's going to be a new look with a new leader at the helm for the Titans because of the news that we got today. And it wasn't the news that we were expecting, Caleb.
It was not.
There was a comment made from Amy Adams Strunk a few days ago about Mike Mularkey being the leader or the coach of this team moving forward, and the belief being in Mike to lead this team for years to come, and looking forward to that. But yeah, that was pretty short lived. So I don't know what you think happened there with those comments being made and the fan base kind of losing their whats. With that coming down, because we all know what the fans wanted to see and changes in the coaching staff. It wasn't even necessarily getting rid of Mularkey. It was getting rid of the offensive coordinator and hopefully moving forward with a different scheme, but retaining Mularkey to be the leader and to keep the culture that he instilled in this team to begin with. But something happened, and it seems to be that John Robinson and Amy Adams Strunk kind of forced his hand in saying that. We don't know the exact details, but it seems like he was unwilling to change, and John Robinson was ready to move on from that kind of a scheme. And it was either you change the scheme or we're going to look for someone else.
I mean, yeah, both you and I have been pretty not like hardcore Mularkey supporters, but I think we've been both pretty pro we like the guy. We liked him as a coach. And after the Kansas City game, when Amy Adams came out and was like, hey, Mike Mularkey is our coach moving forward, I think that was just kind of a statement to the media, because there had been some reports tossed around that, Titans were, with a loss or two towards the end of the year, were expected to fire Mularkey. And I don't think that's good for a team in the postseason to already going into still playing games and having your head coach not know whether he's really has his job security. But the thing I think Amy Adams didn't say when she made that statement was that's depending on whether you can, make the necessary adjustments in the offseason that we want you to make to take this team to the next level. Yeah, okay, we're cool. We made the playoffs for the first time in a decade. We won our first playoff game for the first time since 2003. But, I mean, we got John Robinson as the GM. This guy came from the Patriots. They don't just settle for making the playoffs. And so I think that statement, though a lot of people took it as misleading, like he would be back for 2018. And I think they were expecting that, because I thought they, like what you said, they were expecting him to actually see with his eyes as the head coach the problems that this team had faced this past year and be able to make those adjustments. I.e. probably get a new offensive coordinator. I know one of the big things when we brought Mularkey in for the head coach was that he was able to control his own staff, pick and choose, and I think that was a big thing. I guess it was his downfall here. He decided instead of, he had an easy scapegoat. He could just easily have thrown Terry Robisky under the bus, blamed all the problems on him, and kept his job, and then we could have revamped the offense with a new coordinator. He could have gotten his extension as a head coach in the NFL. That's not an easy thing to do. And we could have revamped the offense in the offseason with an already improving defense under LeBeau. And Mularkey just seemed like he was ignorant and to the problems. Like he was turning a blind eye in order to be stubbornly loyal to his guys no matter what. And I think JRob and Amy Adams were like, yeah, that's not going to happen. We were cool with you, but yeah, we're trying to take this team to the next level. We want championships here. So
I think that was well put, because I feel like John Robinson, Amy Adams Strunk sees the bigger picture in trying to get a championship, and with Mike Mularkey especially saying what he did in the press conference, it seemed like he was okay with what we did this year, which was great. But with him even saying, he thought Terry Robisky did a good job. He was okay with Mariota's development this year, despite the fact Mariota threw half as many touchdown passes this year and threw even more interceptions than touchdowns, or half as many as this year than last year is what I meant. And I think if you're not willing to make a change in the offense, a scheme change, then our ceiling is maybe make the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game, and then boom, that's it, and then you're done. But John Robinson is like, okay, we've got to this point. Now we need to get somebody who can take us to the next step, the next level, and I think we're very grateful to see that happen. And it's almost like a breath of fresh air now. That we are starting to look in another direction, because it wasn't just Mularkey's offense, but the fact that from his first full year 2 years ago, meaning the 2016 season, to last year, we saw a full regression across the board with the entire offense in the running game, the passing game, and the offensive line inexplicably regressing. And that was just so discouraging to see that. And then for him to come out and say what he did in the press conference about no changes being made, and we've been texting back and forth about this like yesterday and all day today. That press conference sent up more red flags for us for Mularkey than anything else that he had done or said in his entire tenure with the Titans up to this point. But that press conference really was like, wow, does he not get it? Is he not seeing what we're seeing? Is he just lying to the media, or is he really that blind and thinking that all of this is just okay? Like, yes, we are winning in the playoffs. We won a game, but, I mean, we can see the regression. We can see the struggles that the team makes in getting by, to beating the Browns by 3 in overtime on the road. Like that, the Patriots would never have that problem. So...
Yeah, very true. I mean, I was going to mention it too, that though we're making this video, I guess we're shooting this on a Monday evening, if you're watching it. Don't know when it's going to come out, but yeah, we've basically been texting back and forth since this press conference ended yesterday, and that was, I think, kind of the turning point for both of us when we heard some of those comments. Like, is this guy blind? Like, is he trying to get fired? Like, we liked him up to this point, but come on, there's Mariota. You were happy with Mariota's progression? Are you insane? The guy just had more interceptions than touchdown passes. That one of the worst statistical seasons in the league by far of a franchise quarterback. And the 23rd overall offense after having one of the better offenses in the year before. You're happy with that progression. It just seemed like he was cool with the ceiling the Titans had reached, and I don't think JRob and Amy Adams were okay with that. I think they were okay with him as a coach and the changes he had brought to the culture of the team. And I think players love him. He's created a family atmosphere, players fighting for each other, a team that's gritty, that can come back down on the road by 18 points in a playoff game. And I think those are all good things. But now it's time to take the next step. And when Mularkey was too stubborn to make the changes that the GM and owner wanted to make the next step, then he had to go. So I like the guy. I think he's done great things for the team in transitioning us into a new era of actually, no, we're not in the garbage anymore. We're actually becoming relevant. Now it's time to take our roster talent and really propel them forward.
Yeah, for sure. With like ultimate props to Mularkey for being the interim coach after Wisenhunt got fired and really just riding the ship and reinstilling that sense of belief in the locker room and making this team come together, and the new culture that he brought in is invaluable. But now that he's done that, he's got to be willing to make changes and move on and look at the next step, the next level. And it didn't seem like he was interested in doing that. Yeah. Which is, it just seems kind of crazy.
No discredit of what Mularkey did here, because I think it's almost as hard to take a team that was in the garbage and just in a mess and pull them back to relevancy as it is to take a kind of middle-of-the-road team and take them to greatness. I think both are almost equally hard as a coach. So he took us to that first level of relevancy. Now, when changes could have been made with him still at the helm to take us to kind of lead us into the new era, he was too stubborn to agree to those changes. I gotta say, JRob has some balls here. As when Mularkey was hired after Jonathan Rob, I guess was JRob hired first and then Mularkey back in the day, or they were kind of hired similar.
I think I seem to remember JRob being hired by Amy Adams Strunk with the expectation that, hey, Mularkey is going to be the head coach. So JRob, whether he was hired before or after Mularkey, came in with no say as to who our head coach would be.
Yeah,
so,
I never knew if it was confirmed, but I know it was a lot of speculation was that JRob took the job as GM with the stipulation that Amy Adams was going to bring back Mularkey as the head coach no matter what, and he kind of had to agree to that. He was in charge of the rest of the roster, but if he wanted the GM job, he had to agree as Mularkey being the coach because Amy Adams liked him and the players liked him, and I don't think that has changed. I just think JRob's kind of changing the culture of the upper tier of the organization too. We don't want to be happy with just making the playoffs, squeaking out 9-7 seasons. We want to be the best we can, and I think he's instilling that in the ownership with Amy Adams, and it's starting to trickle down. It trickled down to Mularkey, it trickled down to the players, and now he's just trying to make it happen even more. So
and we do need to give proper props to Amy Adams Strunk and how recent that she has been an owner and taking over this franchise as the owner and really getting herself involved. And yes, John Robinson probably brought to the table to Amy Adams Strunk like, hey, these are the problems I'm seeing with the offense. We need to give Mularkey the ultimatum of either you change or we're going to have to move on. And it may or may not have been, whether it was JRob's wishes or not is kind of irrelevant because regardless, Amy Adams Strunk has the final say, and she had to give that final say to make the change. And we know that her and Mularkey had a good relationship. She really liked Mularkey. She was the one that wanted to retain Mularkey and keep him as the head coach after he was the interim head coach. So to be able to see that, look beyond her personal feelings, she searched her feelings, so to speak, if we want to go Jedi on this, but she made the business decision for this team. She's looking out for this team and for our franchise quarterback, and I thought I think most people think she made the right move.
And I think when Mularkey stepped up to that press conference, I really think JRob and Amy Adams were sitting there being like, we hope, or even that we know that Mularkey sees the issues with the team and will do all he can to correct them. And when he seemed to give them anything but the right answer, they were like, okay, now there's a disconnect between ownership and management and the head coach, and that's kind of where they drew the bottom line. And I got another shout out to Amy Adams, because I think it was 2 off seasons ago where the Titans got fined for the ownership troubles and her not like going to the owners meetings. Since then, I feel like I have seen her face everywhere, at Titans tailgates, on Titans online, on videos, on YouTube, pumping up the fans. She's traveling to the games. I think she's really stepped up her game too. I don't know if JRob's helped that, or if that's just her kind of like really embracing the role as the Titans owner once it like fully came to her. But I think she's done an incredible job, and I think the duo of Amy Adams Strunk and JRob is their chemistry and making this change together. I know Amy Adams had the final call, but I am liking what I see from the upper tier of the organization, and I think that's going to have a trickle down effect to the rest of the team. And if you're not willing to change and take another step to greatness, then they're going to cast you aside. They'll find someone who can.
For sure. Like I really love our owner, and how many NFL franchises can say that they love their owner? I mean, I know some of them do, but there's a lot of franchises that are like, man, I hope this guy just sells the team. You know, Stan Kroenke and Spanos, obviously one of the least liked owners in the NFL. We're pretty lucky. We're pretty fortunate to have Amy Adams at the helm. I think she's even more active in this franchise than her dad, Bud Adams, which I only got to experience. What was it? Maybe 10 years of ownership from Bud Adams.
10 years of him.
He's owned this team since its foundation.
10 years of him flipping the bird to the other team from his box.
Right. That was awesome. He did force Jeff Fisher to draft Vince Young.
Oh yeah, great decision there.
So he was very involved in that decision. But yeah, just seeing Amy Adams Strunk, like you said, just interacting with fans at tailgates, at away games, no less. I mean, that's awesome. Love seeing that. I think she loves being an owner and getting involved in making these decisions. And she's like, hey, I really like embracing this role. Let's keep it going. I like winning. She got a little taste of success.
Yeah, and she wants more. She wants more, and yes. I think JRob has been a great addition for her in upper management, because he's seen and tasted what the ultimate success is, and so he can present that to her as like, hey, I know you're happy with this, but look what it could be. And I really like their chemistry right now. It was a big decision to move on from a guy they liked, from a guy that I know he's kind of been hotter cold with the fan base, but I think majority of people thought he was a really good guy, and he would give him credit for changing the culture. So that's a big thing to do. A guy who takes a team from 2-13 or 2-14 and 3-13, changes them all of a sudden to having winning seasons, winning their first playoff game, and then still making the change to let him go because they want to get better, and he seemed to not be on that path. So yes, very encouraged by that as a Titans fan.
Definitely. Let's give one more quick shout out to while we're on upper management, a guy that you never really see in the public, but he's very much active in all these decisions, is team president Steve Underwood, who I think he had a big role in hiring John Robinson in the first place. So he's involved in all these discussions. So props to him too for helping come to this big decision in this head coaching change. So I see you, Steve.
And no one can grow a goatee quite like Steve Underwood.
Colonel Sanders himself.
What is that thing, bro? Do something about that. So now Titans enter the offseason coachless, which is a surprise. That was shocking. It came so fast. Saturday night, we lose to the Patriots. Sunday, Mike Mularkey has the worst press conference in the history of press conferences, says all the exact wrong answers that everyone wanted to hear, and Monday morning, he's fired. JRob even said that they made the decision Monday morning, and then when asked in his conference if Mularkey's answers had affected his decision, he was like, yeah, they did. And which was the same for us. Once we saw what he was saying, we're like, okay, that's insane. Something needs to change, and they made the changes.
Yeah. So it kind of turns into a win-win situation for us because we get a playoff win. We get to experience the joys in that epic game, and we also get to see this team go in a new direction with a new philosophy, especially on offense and under a new head coach that we all kind of wanted to see. And again, it would have been fine with Mularkey, in my opinion, but given that he had to change what he was doing and kind of hand the reins over to somebody else, but, not willing to do that.
Yeah, totally. So moving forward, you want to talk a little bit about what's ahead for this team. Obviously,
like possible coaching candidates. McDaniels is the big name being thrown around, but I think he's like inches away from making it official with the Colts. Lots of reports coming out that they're super close to a deal. Blah blah blah. And I'm not going to buy into that until I actually see it. We saw Amy Adams-Strunk and her statement about defending Mularkey and bringing him back and looking forward to future years with him, and that turned out to be a wash. But now that we have an open slot as for head coach on our team, maybe McDaniels kind of pumps the brakes a little bit, if I can get that sentence out, and kind of sees where things go once the Patriots season ends. But you never know. It might be a done deal, but I'm not going to buy into McDaniels officially being the Colts head coach until I see it on paper, until I see the literal contract in my hand.
Did you see Mike Mularkey's contract in your hand? Okay.
Oh, I did not.
Well,
actually.
I mean, we've all heard and seen the reports of how McDaniels has verbally addressed how he would be interested in the Titans coaching job if that were to become vacant. And it is vacant now, Josh. Yo, bro. So I don't know what else more you want. I don't see, I heard the reports after we fired Mularkey that Josh McDaniels to the Colts was kind of like a sure thing. But I don't see why, even now, even if he had agreed to them, he's not allowed to sign with them until after the Patriots are done with their season. So that's still going on. So I mean, if I were him, I would flip flop. Look at the roster talent. It's black or white right here. I know he has a good foundation with Andrew Luck supposedly being able to come back next year, but across the board, the roster talent is way better with the Titans. I think the problem being with the Titans coaching job position now being available is it comes with a lot of pressure. I mean, this is a team where they were in the dump a few years ago, and now they've risen to relevancy. Just came off their first playoff win. They're touted with talent across the board, an improving defense, young guys on offense, your franchise quarterback, and they just fired their coach. Now that's a lot of pressure for a guy to come in. If you don't live up to the expectations right away within your first year, almost 2 years, but probably first year, you're going to be gone too. Maybe I'm not the owner or anything, but I'm just saying, say we bring in the Josh McDaniels and we're going up against, we have a hard schedule next year, and the AFC South is only getting better. I mean, with the Jags are in the AFC Championship, they're going to be here next year. Their defenses, anyways. Colts are getting Andrew Luck back. Deshaun Watson's coming back for the Texans, as well as J.J. Watt, which.
I mean, what is Andrew Luck going to be back? Will Andrew Luck be back? Who knows?
Even if he doesn't come back, we still have the Jags and the Texans to worry about. Texans with Watson are a playoff caliber team, if not higher. Jacksonville, we're already seeing what they're capable of. That's a very tough division on paper going into next year. You got to play those teams, six times, and throwing in the Colts in there. So really tough divisional record, and then throw in the rest of our record, and that's a lot of pressure for a guy, especially for a Josh McDaniels who hasn't had a good head coaching tenure in his one shot with the Broncos. I know he didn't have the same amount of talent. He had Tebow as his quarterback, so maybe this time he wants to go into a situation where he at least has a very well-established QB. I know Mariota has the talent to get there, but Andrew Luck's already established there. But that's just my worry when we're looking at possible coaching jobs. It's like, man, that's kind of a tough situation to come into.
Well, yeah, it is tough, and I understand there's a lot of pressure to come in to be a head coach of the Titans, and the pressure to win right away. But I think we've got one of the most attractive positions at head coach in the NFL in probably years. Like, you get the opportunity. I mean, there's pressure, but you look at the opportunity you get. You get a young franchise quarterback who is probably he's already a stud, but he still has a ceiling that is to be reached. You have a young Heisman Trophy winning running back in Derrick Henry. You've got all this talent, like you said. Still veteran leadership, but not so veteran and so old that they're going to be regressing anytime soon. Which I mean, maybe a couple players, but yeah, a team that just came off a playoff win in Kansas City. This team is trending up and up and up, and we need a head coach. Like what we should have our pickings from the entire litter box of coaches. Yes, there, like you said, again, there is pressure to win, but man, look at what you're set up with. I think any coach would be kind of dumb to refuse us over any team. No offense to all the other teams. I mean, in Nashville, don't you want to live in Nashville? Great place to live if you have a family. This is a family-friendly town.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, based on just our roster talent and the things we have, I feel like coaching candidates should be lining up at the door, willing to coach for free almost for the opportunity. But I also want to underline also the challenges that come with it from just recent history and with the staff we just saw. And this is another thing that's shocking to me, that Mularkey was so stubborn that he wasn't willing to make a change. It's hard to become a head coach in the NFL, let alone get a team, especially team ownership and upper management that is behind you and willing to back you for an extension, and then just be like, nah, I'm just going to stick with my guys even if you fire us all. That is shocking to me. It just seems now, I mean, this was his third head coaching job. I dare say it's going to be a while before he gets another shot at one. Now, I'm sure he'll find a coordinating job somewhere else, but I don't know. I guess I was just shocked by it's like, oh, hey, the ownership's backing you. They're willing to, keep you on, give you an extension, give you job security to bring in the right guys, and you're like, nah, just pass on it.
It's the not Mike Mularkey. It was the Mike. We've had a lot of Mike head coaches, but the Mike Munchak situation where we wanted to make some staff changes, but he was loyal to his staff and he chose his staff over continuing to be a head coach. And it may not surprise me to see Munchak do that, because he had lifelong friends like Bruce Matthews as an offensive line coach, and he was very well integrated into this franchise from his playing days as a player. But for Mularkey, it was kind of surprising, because like you said, I would be surprised if he gets another head coaching opportunity in the NFL. I think this was it for him, and I would almost have expected him to make a decision to stay as the head coach if he loved this team as much as he proclaimed to, and I think he really did. I think he really did love this team and loved coaching him. But I think he would have made the decision to make the changes in order for him to stay as head coach, but he didn't do it. So I guess he's going to be a tight end coach.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's been rumors come out that the Cleveland's interested in him as the offensive coordinator. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I agree with how much he's professed he's loved this team and the players, and how players like Brian Orakpo, Wesley Woodyard have backed him and supported him. It's just. I understand what you said. You understand Mike Munchak doing that. He has lifelong friends. And with that team, I feel like there was a lot of issues with it. With this team, it was blatantly obvious what was the issue. It was the offense, which starts, I know Mike Mularkey, it was his scheme that he brought in, but I think that starts with Robisky, maybe Jason Michaels, some of the other people like that. So he had an easy scapegoat. And honestly, if he was like, yo, Terry, you're my best friend, but I mean, it's obvious that you're not getting the job done, and they want me to bring in someone else to kind of revamp the offense if I want to stay as head coach. I don't think that's a bad breakup for him and Terry. I think they can still stay friends after that. He doesn't have to give up his whole head coaching job. So it just seems kind of idiotic, honestly, from my standpoint, to give up that opportunity.
I think it was kind of giving up Terry, but also at the same time giving up his belief in his scheme and his offensive play style, because it was still his offense, regardless of how you feel about Robisky, who was just calling the plays. It was still Mularkey's offense.
Yeah, but like you said, since he loved the team enough,
so maybe that probably had something to do with it, that he wasn't willing to give that up.
If he really loved the team enough, you think he would make those changes, those small changes. Just change your offensive coordinator. Let someone else take control, the reins on the offense. And if you love the players, want to keep fighting for him, but he couldn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think happens with Dick LeBeau? You think
I don't.
he comes back this year?
It was a surprising
Would you want
statement
him
from
back?
JRob because I think that he said that in his press conference that all of the assistants are still under contract for another year at least. But I think
Oh, that's his way of saying they're not. They're under contract. I did tune into the radio when somebody asked him about DeMarco Murray and his future with the Titans, and JRob said DeMarco is under contract. And that's all he said, which is not an answer. It's no answer. It's just like a factual statement. And that tells me we're probably moving on from DeMarco Murray, but that's just my opinion. But that's just how JRob answers questions. I wouldn't believe anything one way or the other if he says all of the staff.
I mean,
is
he
under
comes from the
contract.
Patriots, who don't give any kind of answers or hints at what they're doing or thinking in their press conferences.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's smart of him. He doesn't want to. The media takes a few little words and puts it together and blows it up into a whole story until it becomes reality. So he doesn't want to give them any logs for their fire of lies or narratives they want to create. But so, what was the question? Did you ask me something?
Dick
LeBeau.
Would you want him back, or should
You know
we
what?
go ahead and move on from
I
him
think
as
I would
well?
want LeBeau. I think his coaching was exposed a little against the Patriots, but I think he's able to adapt. I think we've seen it this year with some of the new personnel. The defense has been a constant improvement from last year. As we continue to improve that, I think we need to get some more speed rushers. But I have no problem with LeBeau. Now, if he wants to retire, that's one thing because the dude is old AF. But
we should let him retire on his own terms. I mean, the job he did this year is not a fireable job at all. And I think if he wants to come back, we should definitely be open to that and accept that. But it's interesting what you said about the Patriots because he actually, I read about this, he actually has a terrible history of facing the Patriots. Tom Brady has always gashed the Dick LeBeau-led defenses. Going back to when he was coaching the Steelers, he just does not match his scheme or whatever he does not work against the Patriots. They expose him every single time they match up. So if we want to beat the Patriots, if we meet them in the playoffs, it may be another ugly kind of game again if he's still the defensive coordinator. So we'll see what happens there. Tom Brady surely won't play until he's like 50. So hopefully we won't have to see him for much longer. But yeah, I would not mind having Dick LeBeau come back because the defense was a vast improvement from last year. Especially,
I was going to say, I mean, but how many teams, coaches, and players have a terrible track record against the Patriots the last 20 years? There's a lot of them out there. I mean,
a lot.
Dick LeBeau's not alone in that category. But I would like to have him back, but I'm also fully invested in JRob. I think PK was the one who worded it this way, but he's like, with this power move by Amy Adams and Jonathan Robinson, it's pretty much all up in JRob's hands. He's going to make the coaching hire he wants and then let that coach. I feel like it's a pretty normal stipulation. If you hire a new head coach, he's open to make any kind of assistant changes he wants. And if I see that happening, if I see Josh McDaniels coming in as the head coach or maybe Mike Vrabel, I would think that those guys have some assistants in place that they want to see. And so I think it's a slim chance we see LeBeau back next year, even though I would not mind it. I think he's taken his defense to new heights, and I think he's willing to adapt and continue to to get better, unlike Mularkey. Make the changes necessary to get better. So, but I think it's highly unlikely we see him back with the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. In
JRob,
we trust either way. I don't know if this is even a good question or not, but as far as the head coaching goes, would you rather see an offensive-minded head coach who's coming in and also calling the shots on offense, maybe calling the plays, or at least just bring in an offensive coordinator and maybe go a defensive-minded head coach? And as long as the offense is in one guy's hands that we trust, or do you think it matters? Does it matter in which way how the offense defense is handled by coaches, or do you have a preference?
I guess in the long run of things, it doesn't really matter to me. I think honestly, I would probably prefer a defensive-minded head coach as long as we can bring in. Team him with a great offensive coordinator that will kind of revamp the offense. If for some reason that you can't get them to work in tandem like that, then I guess I would take an offensive guy, but I like when your head coach is really defensively minded. I think that preaches not just to the defense, but to the whole team. It kind of instills the whole team with just this certain sense of like toughness and grit all across the board in all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. I think sometimes you see a really kind of offensive scheming guy like Wisenhunt. Honestly, when Wisenhunt came in, I just didn't feel that toughness across the board with our offense or with our defense. Mularkey kind of brought that to the team, and so I don't know. At this point, it's a lot of speculation until we see who hires, until we see who the Titans hire. We could throw out so many names right now, and they could all be vastly different to what they bring to the team. Is there anyone you would like to see who you think would do a great job? Like anyone, you can say Mike Krzyzewski.
I'm not even sure who's available. We've talked about McDaniels, and he did have a rough go at it his first head coaching stint with the Broncos.
He had Tim
Didn't
Tebow.
work out. Didn't have the talent or the staff support that I'm sure he got with the Patriots. Anyone who's been through the Patriots offense, though, has been successful and gone on to be head coaches at some point or another, it seems like, whether they were successful or not. So there still is a risk in getting McDaniels. You did say Mike Vrabel, which is interesting. It's kind of weird because I remember watching him play, which just means I'm getting a lot older. But I remember him playing for the Patriots for years, and then all of a sudden he's this coordinator, and all of a sudden he's this head coaching candidate this offseason right off the bat. So apparently he's doing a good job.
Texans' defense has been solid for years. I know they have some great players, but they've been good. And I think
I've heard Jim Schwartz, speaking of defensive-minded coaches, he had some good years with Detroit to kind of changed that culture there for a minute. He got them to the playoffs at least one time, I remember, and he had some great years with the Titans early on as defensive coordinator. So that might be a popular hire as in fans' eyes at least, but we'd definitely have to hire a very competent offensive coordinator who knows what he's doing if we went that direction.
See, so I like what you said, Jim Schwartz, and it's funny because you said you thought it'd be a popular hire with the fans, because I feel like that's the one name that's been in my mind that I haven't seen come up almost at all on Twitter today, on Titans Twitter, which is kind of my main source for how I get the feel for the fan base and news. But you see people like Josh McDaniels. I guess Pat Shurmur is going to what team did he commit to already? Whatever. Maybe
Cardinals, maybe.
But the popular guys, Mike Vrabel. But I'm surprised that Jim Schwartz isn't getting as much recognition as I thought he would get, because I think he would be a great hire. Like you said, they would need to pair him with a great offensive coordinator, which I don't know who that would be. But I would like Jim Schwartz. I don't know. I kind of feel like he's fits better as just a defensive coordinator. But at this point, the next promotion he's going to get will be head coach. So do we take that risk and give him that shot again? I mean, he's done a great job in Philly. He did a great job in Detroit, like you said, and I think we have more talent and better talent than Detroit ever had right now. So I would like to see a defensive head coach. I think our defense is headed in the right direction. I mean, almost to becoming an elite level year in and year out, if we can kind of retain the scheme, retain the toughness, and then keep on improving our roster on that end. I mean, we got some great young players out there. Dory Jackson, Kevin Byard, Jonathan Cyprian had a great year. And he's pretty young. This is only the 5th season. Logan Ryan too. I think our defensive line and linebackers are where we're going to need to see improvement through free agency and the drafts, just getting younger, quicker guys, especially on the line. I know we got some young linebackers. Deion Brown, I think, had a promising year. I don't know if Avery Williamson will be back. But, so I don't know. I guess defensive-minded, if I had the answer, teamed with a good offensive coordinator. Is that too much to ask for?
Yeah. Or I got another one for you. Can we talk Bruce Arians out of retirement? I mean, if anyone could talk him out of retirement, I think it's the Titans team. Like, who wouldn't want to come coach Marcus Mariota, especially a quarterback guru like Bruce Arians? Talk him out of retirement.
Well, I mean, I said this earlier as a joke, but I think it's time for Bill Belichick to ditch the Patriots. I mean, Tom Brady only has, I don't care how well he's playing at 40, he's going to die soon. It's time for Belichick to just get rid of the Patriots. He can basically form a new dynasty for the next 20 years with this Titans roster. So come on. Come take advantage. I think Yes,
Start
I mean
the
he was born
dynasty,
here. Come on,
Belichick
dude.
with us.
I don't even know if I want Bill Belichick, but I think he would
Yeah.
take this team to new heights. I'll say that. Anyways, we're getting kind of long here. Any last thoughts on this coaching search? We could toss out, available names all day, but it's just speculation and speculation on how we think they'll do next year. So
true. Yeah, I mean it's going to be an exciting offseason. We thought it would be kind of ho hum with Mularkey staying around, but that's not the case. It'll be exciting because this is JRob. This is JRob time. JRob is in the spotlight. He now has, for the first time in his career, an opportunity to hire a head coach for an NFL team. So we'll see where he goes with it. I'm pumped.
Yeah, he has basically
JRob.
taken sole control of developing this team and forming it and how he wants to see it, come together from the coach down. So I'm excited. In JRob we trust. That's about all I got. And yes,
that will be the theme for the offseason. Well, it's always the theme, but especially this offseason.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be, we're going to be a new look Titans team next year. Even if we suck, we'll still have new uniforms, so we'll be a new look.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
Yeah.
New head coach, new uniforms, new Super Bowl champions.
Amen.
The Tennessee Titans.
It's not going to be an easy year. We got a tough schedule, especially throwing in our division games, but no bad days, yo. No bad days.
Yup. No bad days all day.
All right, Justin. That's all I got, man.
Check mark. That's a ditto.
I hope you're having
for me,
fun back there in Nashville, rooting on the Titans.
It's great. Weather is cold, and it's probably colder in Denver.
It wasn't. We actually
we're
just got our first snow
winter.
today. We had not gotten snow yet until today, and y'all
bust out the skis.
Nashville
bro.
beat us.
Ride those slopes.
So, anyways, peace out, y'all. Tighten up.
Yeah.
Tighten up.
Two-tone
Tighten
blue.
up.
Two tonnage
Tight.
bluage.
10.
Read the shirt.
Oh.
V.
V.
Very, very good. Can we do like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 clap? Or if you're gonna edit it, I mean, it would help me, but when I edit videos. But if you can do it.
Yeah, we can do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
1. No, you're way off.
What? I was perfectly on.
No, I clapped way before you did.
No. On my end, it was perfect. It'll be matched up on the cameras. It doesn't matter.
Well, I was clapping at the laptop. Whatever. If you think it's good, then good luck. Good luck to you.
Oh man, this is funny. I'm glad. We should just leave all this in. Can I just put this in at the end?
People would love to see this.
Of the bloopers?
Us trying to get this entire video together.
Okay.